Hey, what's up everyone? AJ Writes Crypto here. Could not be more excited to get into today's video because today's video is no other than a price prediction on the Graph. The Graph is one of my favorite projects. It's one of the Glitter Queen's favorite projects. This is a prediction I've done before, and this is a prediction I certainly want to revise. So let's get it.
At you with the week 12 portfolio
Havoc cycle has worked out every time, and what is the ultimate goal for Algorand, and where do you see it in 5 years? So when we look at the Graph, the first thing I will point out about this coin is the insanity of its previous tokenomic situation. It put its all-time high in on February 12th, 2021. A lot of things, went up in March, and a lot of things all-time high in November. The Graph, all-time high in February. Very strange. And I can show you exactly how and why this happened. And I can also tell you, this is how much tokenomics truly matter when it comes to crypto. And you need to be aware of the tokenomic setting you're in for each of your long-term holds. Now, the worst is over for the Graph. It's a much more friendly situation now, but let's at least go back and look at what happened and what led to this previous all-time high. So right here on your screen is a chart of the Graph, from 2021 to 2023. And as you can see, it has its all-time high and it's just fallen down. Very sad ever since. But here on your screen is a chart of the Graph's market cap, where right here is February. So wait a minute, let's go back. And the price chart goes like this, but the market cap goes like this. So the market cap was actually, around 6.3 billion in November. So the Graph's all-time high in terms of market cap was in November with everything else. But in terms of its actual price in November of 2021, it topped out at $1.30. This is because of the Graph's tokenomics. Let's go back and look right here. This is a snapshot, very close to the Graph's all-time high in February of 2021. And at the time, the Graph's circulating supply was 1.24 billion. Later that year, in November of 2021, the Graph's supply was 4.71 billion, grown over, 291% just from, February to November of 2021. So how much has it grown now? Right now, the Graph's circulating supply is 9.4 billion. So from its all-time high to now, the Graph's circulating supply increased 656%. Is that going to happen again? No, it's not. The worst is over. But for anyone that held the Graph from 21 to now, that was, the worst case scenario in crypto tokenomics. But at least from here on out, it's a friendly scenario. So you might be asking yourself, how friendly is the Graph's tokenomic situation going forward? Well, right here on CoinGecko, it says circulating supply 9.4 billion with a max supply of 10.7 billion. Well, I hate to say it, CoinGecko, but this is actually incorrect. The Graph does not have a max supply. And I can prove that to you right here on the Graph Academy that tells you everything you need to know about the Graph's tokenomics. As you can see right here, the Graph's token economics are quite complex. Aside from a token issuance schedule and a token burn mechanism, the Graph protocol unlocks vesting tokens during a 5 to 10 year time span. To help clear up this confusion, we made this website. It's basically what they're saying. So right here, you will read total token supply. The Graph does not have a maximum token total supply. 10 billion Graph had initially been minted. But when you come back to CoinGecko here, you'll see that the max is already at 10.7, so 788 million coins have already been minted since that initial 10 billion. There are both inflationary and deflationary mechanisms defined in the protocol. Inflation may occur via annual issuance of new tokens, which is set around 3% in 1 year. With the governance, it can go to as low as 0%, and deflation, you can be around, annual burn rate expected to be around 1% per year. But I went back and I checked on this, 3% inflation 1 year. And I looked back on the Coin Perspective, a screenshot of, about a year ago, February of 2023. And I looked for the Graph. And right here, you will see that about a year ago, the Graph's circulating supply was 8.8 billion. But wait, right now its supply is 9.4 billion. And that was a year ago. And that's not 3%. That's actually closer to 6%. So I'm not exactly sure, how exactly they're going about doing this. Like it said on the website, very complex scenario for the Graph. But what I think they mean is that from the initial 10 billion they minted, that goes up, 3% every year. But when it comes to the percentage of the supply that's actually circulating, that is a different story. So, there is more graph being made. The graph's max supply is not 10.78 billion like it says here on CoinGecko. That number will inflate 3% every year. But nevertheless, given this situation right here, if its max supply was indeed 10.7 billion, it would be around 90% of the way vested. And I still think that that is the narrative, especially when you look at this chart here. Right here is the 3-year GRT release schedule. And as you can see early on there, when it was down at 1 in the bottom left, it aggressively went up. And that was that main supply shock. Even though the market cap was much larger, the price was much smaller. That was because how many coins came in such a short amount of time. But now, plenty of time has gone by. And although there's still a 3% per year issuance, it is going to taper off and kind of be like this. So I really don't see the graph supply going much, much crazier up. Do I see between 3 to 6% per year, in terms of the actual circulating supply? Yes, but like I said, the worst is certainly over, and I'm just going to imagine the top of the next bull run, the supply being somewhere between 6 and 9% larger than it is right now for the denominator. In terms of progression of the project from, its previous all-time high in February 21 to now, the graph is, a much more mature protocol, much more mature ecosystem. It has come a very long way, as you can see in the key insights. Over 1,500 subgraphs have been published from the graphs hosted service to the decentralized network, in 1 year. In Q4 in 2023. That is pretty solid. Not to mention, if you go here to Token Terminal, you'll see the daily graph token holders in the past 365 days. March last year, we're looking around 124,000, where now we're looking around 153,000. Steadily going up in terms of how many people are holding the graph. Not to mention that this tweet here that we referenced in our previous portfolio update, the amount of delegators the graph had, started in February of 2021, there were only 5,000 delegators. Now, 3 years later, not 2 years later, we're getting close to 100,000 delegators. If that same rate of progression happens over the next 3 years, we will have, somewhere between 2 million delegators in the next 3 years if the same progression of 1,900% happens between now and then. Do I think that's going to happen? No, but obviously the point is the amount of delegators is going up and to the right and the ecosystem is growing, and that's the point. Moving forward, 2023 was quite the year for the graph. They integrated 7 new networks, and simultaneously the graph ecosystem transitioned to Arbitrum 1 to reduce gas fees and transaction times. This is very important because of how many transactions the graph is going through every day, indexing the blockchain. Just a quick overview. Think like Google, right? Search for something on Google. Google is indexing the internet for the specific thing you want. Well, this is what the graph does, except for blockchain data. And blockchain data is not at all easy to index. It's very, very complicated, and I fully don't even understand it. I do not know how to code. There's a level you hit once you realize you don't know how to code computers. You can only go so far down the rabbit hole, but I do understand the overall concept of what they're doing, and that is really what is most important. What's important for the holders is that the graph is making money doing these indexes. Right here in Q4 of 2023, revenue from indexing rewards grew 24% quarter on quarter and 65% year on year to nearly $10 million USD. So, the graph, the service they provide is working very well. Sometimes this is how I like to explain the graph. Well, how Chainlink is the king of oracles. Well, the graph is the king of indexing protocols, indexing blockchain. And this is why some people consider the graph an AI coin, because a lot of these AI projects use the graph to index the blockchain, which is a very difficult task. So some of you might be thinking, AJ, I don't care about all the technical stuff. How high can the graph go? Well, let's look into it. When it put in its all-time high, its market cap was actually only 3.7 billion. Right now, its market cap's around 2.2 billion. Then to be honest with you, despite how much the token circulating supply scenario has grown, okay, I think that, only aiming for a $6 billion market cap for the graph is a joke. I think the graph is going to go much, much, much bigger than $6 billion by the top of the next bull run. I'm thinking much bigger than that going forward, but let's look into why. But right here on your screen is a chart of the graph's market cap dominance. So right here, when the graph put in its market cap all-time high of around 6.3 billion, at the time, its dominance was 0.25. So 1/4% was as high as the graph got in terms of dominance. Let's think of it like this. And of course, I don't use dominance as the Bible. I use dominance as a guideline to see what's possible. Because, at the very top of the last bull run, the tippy top of the crypto market was $3 trillion. This next one, I think, is going to be somewhere between $7 to $10 trillion. So if the graph, got back up to this dominance level, which it very well could, it has already started climbing. Say the graph gets back to, 1/4% in 2025, and the total crypto market cap goes to $7 trillion. Right here on your screen, you would see that would be 17.5 billion for its market cap, which would spit the graph out at about $1.86. And that makes complete sense to me. Actually, to be honest, we have to move the circulating supply to, I'd say, around 9.9, not 9.6 billion, because it is going to grow somewhere between 3 and 9% between now and then. So it actually spit the graph around 176 with the heightened supply. We always have to keep track of the heightened supply. But that actually completely checks out to me, because right here is every support resistance level you would ever need to know about the graph on its chart, from where it is now to its all-time high. And 176, let me get my pen. 176 would be right here. At this level. It would actually be a little bit above this support resistance level. And of course, the levels that concern me the most for the graph is actually this one at 115. This 115 level, is kind of the difference between the lower value range and the top value range up here. So the 115 level, like in the future, when we break the 115 level, I'm going to be very excited that day. Also, the 176 prediction is actually kind of funny, because because see how fast the graph kind of broke up through this level here? See how fast it did not spend much time in this level here. So only getting to 176 kind of seems like a low ball. I know my previous price prediction for the graph was much lower than that, but I think that 176 is the low point of my price prediction for the graph today. To be completely honest with you, I think a lot of the question with the graph is, we realize how much the supply has grown from its previous all-time high to now. But despite how much the supply has grown, is it possible for this coin to get back to that previous all-time high? Well, first off, what would it take? What would it take for it to get to that previous all-time high? For the graph, with the increased supply, to get back to 274, it would require a $27.2 billion market cap. I think this is possible, to be honest with you. I'm not saying guaranteed, but an 11x from here doesn't seem like that much for the graph. I think minimum 11x when you realize it's only 24 cents right now. $30 billion in crypto isn't really that much money. This is a coin that has never been to 7 billion, to be fair, but I think, how much the ecosystem has matured between, back then and now. It's a new story for this coin, especially it being a part of the AI narrative. I think, shooting for 30 billion isn't that much to ask for. And, why I think this? Because now it's time to look at the GANFAN. So right here on your screen is the lowest point of the graph's price point projected out at a 45-degree angle. And as you can see, even where its price action is right now, it's actually kind of interesting, because we actually broke above the little 2-1 right here. And the fact that we broke above that means we can bounce this and continue to the 1-1, which is here is the most important level on the GANFAN. So kind of zooming out here, these two white lines here represents Q4 of 2025, aka the top of the bull run. And if the graph stayed between just the 1-1 and the 2-1, we'd be looking at $1 to 47 cents. I think we're going to do much better than $1 to 47 cents. So if we go here from the 1-1 to the 1-2, we'd be looking at 93 cents to $1.97. And this is where things really start to get interesting, because getting above this level is no joke when you're talking GANFAN. So the question is, can we get back to 270 something, which is the all-time high, 274, which this yellow line right here is the all-time high. So in terms of the GANFAN, the graph would have to do a lot of work to really break out of, that all-time high level. Ironically is that if you look at this box right here, Is it a little stretch for the gone fan? Sure, but I think it's possible. First of all, $1.86 is right here, and that's what we said. $1.86 for the dominance prediction, and then the top of this would be the previous all-time high. It's actually at 290. It's a little bit above the previous all-time high. So that would be that, and I kind of think this box right here is where most of my updated graph prediction sits, between $3 and $1.86, to be completely honest with you. Where if we come back over here, we type in $3 for the graph, would be a $29.8 billion market cap, would be a 12x from right here. Be completely honest with you, I think the graph could even go higher than $3. My predictions kind of hit a wall sometimes because, one, I don't want to mislead people and give irrational numbers. Two, I use things like dominance and gone fans to kind of rein myself in on how bullish I want to be or how bullish I can be. I think $3 is within reason from the gone fan and from the dominance prediction. But to be honest with you, I think it can go higher. I wouldn't be surprised to see the graph go, $4.50, maybe $5 most bullish case. But overall, my graph price prediction from right here on out is going to be $1.86 to $3, where $3 is the 12x. Boom, there you go, just like that. There's my revised price prediction for the graph, $1.86 to $3. Like I said, the target.
Whoa.
What are you doing here?
$3?
I think, if you look at the gone fan and the dominance, $30 billion market.
$3.
Wait, is that not good enough for you?
No.
No? What do you think it's going to be?
I'm going with $4.25.
$4.25. Well, my bull target.
That's my bullish scenario.
My bull scenario is $5. So,
$4.25.
$4.25. Okay, there you go. $1.86 to $3. I think minimum 10x from 24 cents is the point with this one, where it's not always about trying to find the 10,000x coins. It's about trying to find those coins that we can be fairly certain we can guarantee an 8 to 10x. And when you really get into the math of crypto, nothing's for certain. Nothing's guaranteed, but I feel a high degree of certainty in that prediction, although it's even larger than my last price prediction. So with that being said, my name's AJ Writes Crypto. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know down below in the comments, what is your price prediction for the graph? Make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Big thank you to my sponsors, PHEMEX, Market Cypher, and Crypto Chips. All links down below in the description. My name's AJ Writes Crypto. Get rich or get wrecked. Later.